For the sake of full and fair disclosure, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Dave Crystal. I sat on the national board of the McCain Jewish Advisory Coalition. Naturally, as a member of said board, my job was not to see you elected. But I'm not a spiteful political operative, so when you were elected, I exhibited a begrudging sense of pride as our nation elected its first African-American president. It was hoped, deep down, that you would have been moved by the common history of our communities in this great country of ours. I had hoped that you would have cherished the legacy of the Jewish leaders who founded the NAACP and presided over it for many years. I would have hoped that you would recall with favor the million of Jewish leaders who stood behind and beside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the thousands of Jewish students, including my own mother, who marched behind him. It was hoped that you would recall in kindness all the good deeds of the Jews of this country and the Jews of Israel that have been done for black populations all over the world. Whether it be in sending life-saving aid to Haiti, or in donating millions of dollars to African-American causes by a UJA federation. It was hoped that despite our political differences, you would sympathize with the plight of the Jewish race and the Jewish state and give Israel a fair break. But sadly, you have not. Sadly, you have treated the Jews and the Arabs with moral parity, as if Arabs have pursued peace with the same consistency and passion as have the Jews. In meting out criticism, Mr. President, you have not played fair. Fair play for Israel is all we ask. Woo-hoo! Mr. President, we come here today, a mass of people, Jews and Gentiles, Catholics and Protestants, Democrats and Republicans, to say in a clear and unified voice that there is no moral parity between the Jews and the Arabs. That there is no moral equivalence between the State of Israel and the Palestinian Authority. That there is no symmetry between the State of Israel and the state-sponsored terror who seek to destroy her.
That's right.
Israel's not perfect, but in the context of the Israel-Arab conflict and the Oslo Accords negotiations, Israel is in the right, and you don't have to be a right-winger to see it. Mr. President, we are not demanding that you assume the position of the Israeli government, only that you give it fair play before summarily dismissing it. If it is all right for the Palestinian Arabs to illegally erect hundreds of buildings throughout Judea and Samaria over the last few years, then certainly it should be fair play for the State of Israel to erect a few dozen homes in its Jewish capital. Telling Jews not to build homes in Jerusalem is no less racist than telling blacks not to build homes in Johannesburg. Mr. President, if you are honestly telling us that we cannot build homes in Jerusalem, then we honestly have three words for you. Yes, we can. And speaking of Jerusalem, won't you please join the vast majority of Democrats in stating in no uncertain terms that Jerusalem is the eternal capital of the Jewish people, not for sale. Mr. President, it has been almost 2 years since you've taken office. Every day of those last 2 years, Iran has gracefully inched closer and closer to a functional nuclear weapon capable of exterminating the State of Israel. While Iran's leaders publicly denied the Holocaust, they privately but clearly mastermind another one. And you have aided and abetted this progression by wedding yourself to the fanciful notion that all things can be solved by negotiations. Well, they can't. Mr. President, Iran is not Israel. Unlike Israel, Iran will not give an inch. Iran must be met with a strong hand, not vacillating rhetoric. Iran does not view your kindness as kindness. Iran views your kindness as weakness. Even more worrisome is the admission on behalf of your Defense Secretary Gates that we have no viable war strategy vis-a-vis Iran. Mr. President, I can assure you that Iran has a viable war strategy vis-a-vis the United States of America. Mr. President, please do not go down in history as the man who sat on his hands while Iran developed a nuclear capability to exterminate not only Israel, but all of Western civilization. Do not leave a legacy that will force generations of American children to cower for fear of nuclear extermination. Mr. President, the time for just words, just speeches is over.